as we start right into the property tax. Now remember, I did say that you will have an opportunity later on in this discussion here this morning to give us a call at 622, and I'll give out the number one time, 622-4141 extension 4, but later on in the morning after we get into the discussion, and then on Talk City 91.1 FM just after the 8 o'clock news, you will also have an opportunity to call through with questions that you may have related to the property tax. I know many people have other concerns and complaints and a variety of things, but we're talking about what it is you need to do to file this information on the property tax. So I'd like to welcome this morning, I've got three valuers this morning actually. Right next to me, Ms. Emeris Howell, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Dinelle Ramkoon.
Good morning.
And Shiva Kissoon.
Good morning.
Good morning to the three of you. Thank you so much for coming this morning and explaining so many questions that people still have about the property tax. You know, people are afraid of it. People are saying it's too much information. They're saying, how are we going to get all of this done? They're the other questions. Why do we need to do this? But we are going to help me answer all these questions this morning and help to answer those questions that citizens of Trinidad and Tobago have. First of all, we're going to start from basic. Is the property tax new? Who wants to tackle that first question?
Well, firstly, I would like to say thanks again for having us on the program. And yes, you are certainly correct. We are here to talk about the facts concerning property tax. There's a lot of misconceptions, many misconceptions about property tax. And we really do want the public to participate in this project. And therefore, we want to encourage people this morning to send in their forms. Your question is whether or not the property tax is new. As you know, property tax is not a new tax. It has been in existence for over 47 years. However, we do have a new regime, a new process, and that is what we're going to talk about this morning.
Okay, so what is this new process? Take us through this new process bit by bit, and how is this different from what was used in 2009?
Okay, the first thing that has to happen with this new process is that we have to file a valuation return form. Before that was not happening. Right? So this is the reason why we are asking the public to send in their forms by the 22nd of May. Right? So when you send in your form by the 22nd of May, we will, as valuers, proceed to process the return. Okay, so that is the first aspect of filing the of this new process. Right, if I could just get my notes together here. Right, so you file your return. Property owners and agents are required to complete the VRF, that's the valuation return form, and submit it to any office of valuation division. The valuation division may conduct a physical assessment of your property, right? And if required, the commissioner or our valuers or valuation officers will come in and look at the property. It doesn't mean that we necessarily have to. You have a lot of information that you have to submit. You don't have to submit all of the information. We have a few documents, for example, your deed, survey plan, perhaps, your RPO certificate. If it is that you have those documents, we ask you to submit them, or copies of them rather, with the form, and we will move from there. The other things that we find that is most important is like your WASA bill or your TNTEC bill. Those things would certainly help us in coming to an assessment of your property. Also, your land and building tax receipt, which you would have had previously. So you submit those forms and we move forward with doing the assessment of your property. Once the assessment is done, you will get a report of the value, the annual rental value. It will come to you.
Now, people are concerned about valuation officers coming to their property to assess. What happens if there is a case where a valuation officer has to come into a property to assess it? Is it by law that citizens have to let them onto the property, or can we say, listen, I'm afraid for my security?
Yes, I'll let Dinelle. I know Dinelle is anxious. I heard her.
Yes. Yeah, there's a section of the legislation, 15(1) of the Valuation of Land Act, which actually allows for the commissioner to gain access for, well, him or a representative access to land, buildings, as well as documents, so that he can ascertain a value, whether it be rental value or capital value for this purpose.
But you do understand the concern that citizens have with respect to security, of letting
Yes.
people on and ensuring that this is actual valuation officer who is coming and
Yes.
not someone perpetrating to be a
Yes.
valuation officer.
We
Yeah.
wish to advise the public that all valuation officers will be accompanied by members of the Ministry of Security, National Security. And we will be dressed in our uniform, we'll have our ID badges, and we will be telling you that we're coming.
Okay.
So you will know to expect us.
There will be a written notice as well, which would be 7 days in advance of the visit. In addition, we will contact the persons directly so they can confirm our identity, as well as maybe what we may be wearing, what vehicle we may be coming with, so
Okay.
that they can feel comfortable.
Okay.
Yes, we want to remind the public that presently we are not on the field as yet doing these visits, these site visits to inspect your property. So do not allow anybody who claims to be from Valuation Division to come into your property claiming to be tax officers or anything like that. We will write, as my colleagues have said, we will write, we will inform, we will be uniformed, right? And we will have members of the Ministry of National Security, either the police or the army, will be with us when we come on board to conduct the visits.
Now, May 22nd is the deadline for filing
That's
this,
right.
but when do you anticipate you might be making these visits? Because it's going to take a while to get through all these forms. So when do you anticipate those visits might start?
We anticipate it might start by the, let's say, the end of June.
Okay.
We anticipate it could
That's
begin
working
before.
quickly.
Yes, it could be a little bit before, but I believe by the end of June you would certainly see us out in the field.
Okay. Now, what is the actual land valuation and property tax process? Go through this process with me again, what it is we need to do as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Dinelle, you want to take it?
All right. So firstly, we have the valuation return form, as we said, right? This is usually mailed to you. However, I mean, if it's not mailed to you, this won't be, you can't use this as an excuse for why you have not submitted it, right? So we also have it available at the Valuation Division offices, as well as effective this week, the District Revenue offices. It's also available online. So you submit this in addition to your supporting documents, which, as my colleague Emeris has told us, would be your title document, would be the main thing, which would be your deed or certificate of title, your most recent land and building tax receipt, which should be from 2009, as well as your WASA bill and TNTEC bill. When this is submitted, the Commissioner of Valuations will have to determine if a physical inspection is in fact necessary. If this is necessary, we would have a 7-day notice, well, a written notice sent to you 7 days in advance of our visit. Subsequent to this, the information which we gathered on the field would be used to calculate the annual rental value. This information will be used to build a roll, which will then be forwarded. Also, when we build a roll, a notice of valuation would be sent to the members of the public, and they would have 30 days in which to object.
Okay.
Right? The objections can be made according to Section 19 of the Valuation of Land Act, which says if you think that it's too high or too low, or if there are multiple parcels which were valued as one, or the inverse where you have one parcel valued as multiple, as well as if the valuation notice, the notice of valuation, is not in the name of the owner, these are the grounds which can be used for objection. Right? So this rule is then forwarded to the Board of Inland Revenue. They use the annual rental value to come up with the annual taxable value, which will be the annual rental value to which the deductions and allowances are applied. They come up with their assessment rule, and they would issue the notice of assessment, which will in fact inform the member of the public how much they have to pay. And well, that's pretty much the process.
Okay. Now, can this be submitted online? Because you can get the form online. I did go online and I saw the form. It's very easy, actually, online if people have access to it, but I know older people will not. Can it be submitted online, or do you have to print it out to submit it to the evaluations office?
It's advisable to print out and submit to a valuation office, because you will be issued a receipt upon submission of your documents. And that receipt is very important in case you want to call back at a later date to find out where your your processing is at, the status of your request for assessment, and for any other additional information. We do have a hotline, 612-9700, option 7, where you can call and it will direct you to any of our valuation division offices throughout the country, and you will get a lot more information over the phone there too.
Well, I was going to ask you where some of the valuation offices are, because people saying that they don't know where some of these offices are.
Starting with Tobago, we have one in Scarborough, Tobago. Then we have Port of Spain office, Henry Street, Port of Spain. It's all on the ministry's website, by the way.
For those finance.gov.tt.
But as I said, 612-9700 will direct you, and you can ask them where the office is located. But just to go through the list, Port of Spain, Chaguanas, Aruca, San Fernando, Siparia, and Point Fortin.
Okay, because I know someone called yesterday. I think they were in the Rima area. I'm not sure exactly where that office was.
Okay.
So he was asking.
25 to 27 Eastern Main Road, but everybody seems to know this one particular Fishman by Five Rivers Junction. So we are opposite the Fishman by Five Rivers Junction.
All right. Now we do have, we're going to talk some more about this, and of course we're going to be opening up the phone lines here on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago for you to ask your questions based on this. May 22nd is of course the deadline for submitting your valuation return form, and we will be answering those questions. So I do want you to stay with us here on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago, because we will be continuing just after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago, answering your questions on the property tax. May 22nd is the date to file your valuation return form. All citizens, all residents, all people who reside in homes in Trinidad and Tobago need to file this. And there are many concerns with respect to it. So we are talking about it this morning, and we do have 3 valuers with us. I'm going to introduce them again, and we will be opening up the phone lines as well. Emeris Howell, Dinelle Ramkoon, and Shiva Kissoon. So they are here this morning to answer your questions. Now, you did answer whether it was mandatory to submit the full list of supporting documents. About how many, because people are still concerned too about exactly how many documents they need to submit. Many people only have one of them. Sometimes they don't even have the original documents. So in instances like that, what happens?
The full list of documents is not required. It will help the valuation division to do its job a lot faster, which will benefit the homeowner, obviously. But if you don't have all the documents, don't panic, submit what you have, and upon site visit, we will take the necessary information that was omitted.
All right. Can I just add that certain things like deeds, you may be able to get copies of your deeds at the Ministry of Legal Affairs. Okay. So I would encourage people to go in and visit and request a copy. They are computerized now, so it shouldn't be very difficult.
That's Registrar General's office on South Key.
Okay. What exactly is the annual rental value? Because people are asking this, and I think they're also confusing the whether you're renting a property or whether you actually reside in a property. There are those issues as well. And some people, they're saying you need to, on the form, need to count the number of bedrooms in your homes. Then there was another one, the number of rooms. So people are a little bit confused as to exactly what information is needed for those forms.
Okay, well, the annual rental value is that value that your property can attract if it is that you decided to rent it. Right? It is the monthly rental times 12. And that's simply what the annual rental value means. So if you know your property can be rented for $3,000 a month, you multiply 3,000 by 12, you come to $36,000, and that's the annual rental value. If you are not familiar with what might be the rental value in your neighborhood, don't worry about it. Just put what you might think, or you could leave it blank, and we will do the assessment for you.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to say. That being said, if you have no idea how much your property would rent for, we'll do the job for you.
And the question where you need to count the number of bedrooms and that issue on the form as well, that is related to what specifically?
The form asks for how many rooms are rented by a tenant. That is in the case that the property is actually rented out by a tenant. If that doesn't apply, then don't worry about it. We will come and reference the property, but the number of bedrooms and the number of amenity rooms in a property will affect the valuation process.
Do all properties in Trinidad and Tobago have a rental value?
Yes,
Yes, it
all
does.
properties have a rental value because we can rent it if we decided to. So that is just the idea behind it. We are using the annual rental value as the basis of the valuation. Now, there are other bases like site value or improved value, but we're not using those. We're using the annual rental value.
How does the valuation division actually get information on my property? If I own or if I'm renting, how do you guys get information based on that, on my property?
Well, we conduct market analysis on a regular basis. Our field officers are in the field collecting information with regard to what properties are being rented for. And this really is the basis of the analysis, our comparable evidence, right? The other thing that we need to remember is that we have been doing it for a very long time now. Valuation division has been in existence for quite a few years. And property tax is, I should say, one of the major programs that we were created to conduct, right? So I want the public to be confident that you are entrusting the information concerning your homes to reliable and competent people.
Okay. Now the phone lines are open, 622-4141 extension 4. We do in fact have a caller on the line, Sandra Grandi. Good morning to you. Good morning. You have a question for us? Hello?
I have a mortgage.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a mortgage with CTMF, and previously CTMF would pay the land and building taxes. I just want to know what is the process now and how does it affect me in terms of payment?
Well, I believe that the system would continue. We have not really spoken with the TTMF as yet. However, the responsibility lies with the homeowner to file the return. And when we provide you with your evaluation and when the Board of Inland Revenue would send you the assessment, you can take that into TTMF and you can work with them with regard to remitting the payment to the Board of Inland Revenue.
I have a question here. In a multi-family residence where each family member have separate apartments on the compound or the lot, how do you calculate and pay the property tax on that?
Each person would be responsible for their own particular building, right? Even if you have, let's suppose you have an acre and you have 4 different buildings on the 1 acre of land, each person would pay taxes concerning the area that they would be occupying.
And not the land itself?
Well, the property tax will incorporate all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so they can refer to Section 11 of the Valuation of Land Act, and that would explain exactly the process which we follow. It will be separate where we have separate buildings with separate occupation.
Okay, great. We've got Woodbrook on the line. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
What I wanted to find out, with all the information that they're receiving for this property tax, could they institute a rent restriction process?
That's a good question. Thank you. Can they?
Unfortunately, that is under the Rent Review Board.
Yeah.
That does not fall under our purview.
Yeah, because the minister did say that, you know, maybe this may regulate rents. If some landlords are charging more rent than the rental value of the property, it may regulate the rents. But it's basically based on, as you said, that. So unfortunately, no, sir. So you can give us a call at 622-4141 extension 4. The phone lines are open here on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. So give us a call, 622-4141, extension 4. And remember, we will be live on Talk City as well, 91.1 FM, just after 8 o'clock. We've got Pinal on the line. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. Go ahead, sir. Listen to us on your television, on your phone, please, not on the television.
If you have a house on 2 lots of land, hello?
Yes,
Yes,
go
we're
ahead.
Hearing you.
If you have 2 lots of land, still on one of the lots, the property tax to the empty lot.
Is the empty lot held on a separate deed?
Yes, they have 2 separate deeds.
Then it will be assessed as a separate lot.
Yes.
So, but will you have to pay property tax to the empty lot also?
Yes. Property tax also applies to vacant lands. There is a Schedule 1 in the Valuation of Land Act that outlines how the ARV, the annual rental value of a vacant land, is to be derived. So for vacant land for residential purposes, it's 3.5% of the capital value. We will determine the capital value by the same comparable method that we use for all our valuations, and then the property tax.
So that's the cost of the land?
That will be the cost of the land. But wait, now, I'll get to that just now, right?
Cost of the land.
I'll get to that just now.
Hang on, he's answering it. Hang on.
It's a two-stage process for vacant land. I'm seeing information in the public domain where people are applying the straight property tax on the capital value of the land and coming up to real crazy figures.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. So for vacant land, we apply Schedule 1 of the Valuation of Land Act, which is 3.5% of the capital value, to derive the annual rental value of the property. Then, on that annual rental value, the Schedule 1 of the Property Tax Act, which is the 3%, is applied. So essentially, your payment will be 3% of 3.5% of the capital value of the vacant lot.
Okay, now
just to give the caller an idea of what these figures look like, let's say we had a vacant parcel of land, the capital value is $500,000. We worked it out, and the annual rental value, when we do the 3.5% and then apply the 3%, comes in at $525 per year.
Okay. That isn't too bad. I want to ask you about the schedules, because people have been asking questions. What is Schedule 1 and Schedule 2?
Right.
But I do believe we have California on the line.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
I inherited my home here from my grandfather, who died 18 years ago. Now, he built his house without a plan. He just built in the area. So I do not know what it is I have to do if I have no house plan for this house. It's a house. We live in here over the past 20 years. So I do not know what is the next process. Just have to get a house plan drawn or what?
What you have to do is stop worrying. Upon the site visit, we will come and draw this plan of the house for ourselves. So you submit your return with what documents you have, and we'll pick up whatever the details upon the site visit.
Thank you very much.
No
We're insisting that, members of the public, they don't put themselves in expense to get anything which they don't already have. Just submit what you have and we will work with that.
Okay.
That also follows through for advertisements I'm seeing on social media for people advertising. No, that's all. Sorry, I repeated myself there. Advertisements for people charging homeowners to fill out their return. And that's quite ridiculous.
Yeah, $50 a form is what we're seeing.
Last I heard was $300.
Oh, okay. So it runs out.
But it's a very simple form. I looked at it.
And we want to encourage all homeowners to come to Valuation Division offices or call. We can give you the information over the phone. Call the hotline 612-9700 extension 7 and we will walk you through the process. We have very experienced and very patient people, and we will do the best of our ability to help you out.
And further to that, please be reminded that the information on filling the forms, that information is available online. All the instructions, all you have to do is pass your mouse over the area, and you will get instructions as to filling out the forms.
You will get prompts, yes.
Okay. We've got Point Fortin on the line. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
I want to ask two questions. I'm calling from Point Fortin. In terms of squatters, right? Will squatters be getting these forms also? And as squatters are illegal on lands, what is their position in terms of paying this valuation tax? Will they be regularized after they pay that valuation tax? And number two, the persons, how is the government certain for sure that people receive this valuation form, seeing that it's not addressed to anybody and it came somewhat like a flyer in the mailbox? Thank you.
Okay, well, firstly, if it is that you have not received a form in the mail, the forms are available at all Valuation Division offices throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Further to that, the forms are now available at our district revenue offices. So you can go in and collect a form, right? With regard to the fact that you're a squatter, the Commissioner of Valuations has the jurisdiction to value all land in Trinidad and Tobago. And you being in possession of land, you are therefore required to fill out a return form. We want to remind the public again that filling out a valuation return form and having the property placed on the roll does not give you a proprietary interest in the property, right? Please be reminded of that, right? So this
Proprietary
is
interest
the
meaning ownership.
Right.
that's right. Proprietary interest means ownership, right? So this is the process. Please fill the form out, and we will work from there.
That has been a question that's been raised by quite a few people, whether squatters
Yeah.
will then have or claim rights to the land now that they've got to pay property tax on it when they do file this form. We have a reamer on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, and
Good morning.
to the panel this morning. I'm really happy that you all are doing this because we really do have a lot of questions as house owners. If you lot of land and you have like your home and other places on the land, and I'm responsible. Maybe I want to rent the apartment or something like that. Now I'm thinking twice, do I really want to rent or do I just want to keep it for my family? What do you do in the way of just having your deed but not the other places that's on your land?
That's not a problem. We would still require you to submit separate valuation return forms. Each occupier, as we mentioned earlier, Section 11 of the Valuation of Land Act requires this. Also, if even there's one deed for the land, it's not a problem. You go ahead and submit that for all the applications.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to continue with this discussion here on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago and Talk City 91.1 FM. We do take a short break. We'll be right back and be ready with your questions when we come back. Welcome back. Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago live on CTV, ctvtt.com and Talk City 91.1 FM, talking property tax, and you're getting your questions answered as we do have valuers here with us this morning answering your questions, and you do have the opportunity to call in right now at 622-4141 extension 4, and we have Emeris Howell, Dinelle, Ramkoon and Shiva Kissoon. They will also be on Talk City 91.1 FM just after the 8 o'clock news to again answer your questions here. The number then will be 622-4911. Okay, so whoever can't get through here this morning now can call Talk City just after 8 o'clock. Now, we do have the form and the number again that people can actually get information from. Can you remind us of that number once more?
612-9700, option 7.
Okay, great. And we are actually going to put the form up on the screen so that maybe we can go through it just a little bit so that people can understand what it is. So there we have the first part of it.
Well, the first part that you're looking at right now would involve all the documents that we have listed. Now, please be reminded that you do not have to provide all of these documents. Provide as many as you can, the deed or RPO certificate being the major one, as well as your WASA bill, TNTEC bill, as well as your L&B receipt if you have one.
Okay.
Right?
So it's important, though, to have at least a bill so that you have an idea of the address
Yes,
in
and
case
not
you need to
only
make a
that,
visit.
it helps us to do a little bit of background checking because we want to do our best to ensure that the right people are stated as owners of these properties, and our Board of Inland Revenue has some information together with the Ministry of Legal Affairs concerning the ownership of these properties.
In addition to that, though, Section 19 allows an objection to be raised if the notice of assessment is sent to the wrong person.
Okay.
So if an owner owns a property and he wants the notice of assessment to be sent to him, but it's sent to somebody else, based on our information that would have been submitted by somebody, then you can raise an objection to correct that.
Okay. And now we have the Schedule 2 part of it, the return required under Section 6 of the Valuation of Land Act, Chapter 58.03. So go through this with us.
So the first one is premises. At this point, you would put in the address of the property to be valued.
Okay.
Right? So if it's number 1 Davies Street, Tunapuna, you put that in. Right? Question 2, or the second item, is the name of the owners. Now, you know that one property could have more than one owner. You could have joint tenancy, you could have tenancy in common. So that is why we said owners. If it is one, though, you put John
One,
Doe.
yeah.
If it is more than one, you place the names of all of the owners of the property.
That is also an internal decision. If several owners want one person to have their name on the bill, we'll accept that also.
Okay.
Right? Question 3, for what purpose used? Now, this is very important because you have residential, commercial, industrial. So, and you could have a mixture, for example,
exactly.
residential and commercial. So therefore, we want you to place in that area what type of use your property is being put, whether it is residential, commercial, or a mixture of both, or if it is actually industrial.
I wish to add here that the annual rental value will be determined by the actual use to which the site is put. So submitting a town and country planning approval for agricultural when you have an industrial property on the site will not get you any exemptions.
Okay. Just want to remind our viewers though and our listeners on Talk City 91.1 FM that you do have an opportunity right now to give us a call here on Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. 622-4141 extension 4 is the number. We are trying to go through the form with you, as you would have seen just a little while ago on the screen, to let you, understand what information you actually need. They're asking and what information you need to put on these forms. But if you've got questions right now, which I'm sure you do, you can also give us a call at 622-4141 extension 4. And of course, the form is also available online on the website for those who have access.
Finance.gov.tt.
There you go, finance.gov.tt. And it's very easy to download. I did it, like I said, I went on, I guinea pigged it, and it was very easy. It was very simple. You can fill it out there as well and print it out, filled out.
You will also find this explanation sheet there also that will list what is required in each field.
So there's another part of the form if we go on 4.
Yes, whether rented, leased or occupied by the owner. So if you are occupying your own property, you would put occupied by owner. If you are renting the property, of course, you would put whether it's that you're renting the property. Right? And if you're renting the property, they say number of rooms occupied by the tenant. So you can put the number of bedrooms that the tenant occupies. I like to see all of the rooms that are occupied by the tenant. Right? So you can put down the tenant is renting a kitchen, living room, and 1 bedroom and toilet and bath. Right? That helps us as well in our classifications of the property. Right? Then the name of the tenants with monthly rent payable by each. So we are asking you basically to state the names of the tenants and how much they're paying.
Interjection. For those building owners who have apartment complexes, you can list all of this on a separate sheet and attach it to the return. You don't have to try to fit everything into that form.
Before we go ahead with this, we've got Kamuto on the line. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I wanted to find out, I have an estate property, 2 estate property, and I living on 1 lot of land, but there's another lot behind with a separate deed. Do I have to fill out 4 different forms?
Well, you just mentioned 2 separate properties, so how do you reach the 4?
No, I didn't hear because I'm trying to get on the phone. Say again?
No, you just said that you own 2 parcels of land, one with a building to the front and one with a building to the rear, but how do you end up with 4 separate return forms?
Well, I have an estate, a 6-acre estate, and then I have another small estate.
Right.
So I want to know if
Oh, yes.
which is separate from where I'm living.
Yes. The building to the rear, do you occupy it?
Yes, the building, one of the lots I occupy it because that is where my house is. But the other lot is empty. But I have 2 separate deeds.
2 separate deeds.
Yeah.
You would have to submit 2 separate
returns. Yes,
for
one
that
for each
property.
Right.
Yes.
And what about my estate? The small, I have 2 estates.
Well, whatever, once the properties are separately identified in deeds, you have to, to submit separate return forms, one for each property.
Yeah.
Adding to that, though, each building should be submitted on a separate return.
That is, sorry.
You want me to build it on a separate form?
If it is demarcated as a separately occupied area, then yes, you should.
All right, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Just adding to that, based on what that caller was saying, the separate returns are required if we have separate occupation. However, assuming all the buildings are owner-occupied, then you can in fact do 1 return.
Okay, I know that you answered, I think you answered this question already, but I just want to ask it again. If you have someone living upstairs, the only building, living upstairs and renting downstairs, how do you classify that?
Residential.
Residential.
Sorry, you have, what you have downstairs?
Well, you own the building, but the owners are living upstairs and renting downstairs.
For what use downstairs?
Is it commercial or is it apartment?
No, it's for residential purposes.
Oh, yeah, so then it's all residential, yeah.
Okay, great. We've got another caller on the line.
Hello?
Good morning. You're calling from where?
My question is, I have my family upstairs and family downstairs. What do we do now with this? How do we fill the form out of this?
Well, basically, if you have a house, right, and you are living, you said, upstairs, and you have family living downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you state on the form exactly what is happening in the house, right?
Okay.
So one of the things that would help us there is if you were to give us a plan of your house. So you have, let's say you have 3 bedrooms upstairs, a living room, you know, conventional house, kitchen and bathrooms, right?
Yeah.
You say that is upstairs. And if you have downstairs, the same thing, you can give us a plan of that downstairs as well. Or if you have it separated, let's say 2 bedrooms to the front and a 1 bedroom to the back. And so we will know what the building comprises. And therefore, we would know how to value.
This does not have to be an architectural drawing. You don't have to go and pay for this. You can do a little sketch on a piece of paper and attach it to your return.
Yes.
Yeah, one more thing is, suppose my house is unfinished.
Then we will take that into account when assessing the annual rental value.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we do in fact make deductions and allowances for those sorts of, let's say you have no ceiling, it's not rendered and painted, that sort of thing, we will make deductions accordingly.
Yes, if you can somehow indicate that to us on your form, we will take it from there. We will come and have a visit and we will make our assessment.
I just got a text. I know you answered this as well, but just for the person who texted, studio apartments, less rent? No.
No.
Studio apartments. From whose perspective? The building owner or the renter?
From the renter.
The building owner will be responsible for submitting that return. Whether the building owner chooses to pass that on to the renter, that's another matter.
However, we did hear that the Ministry of Housing is working towards a rent restriction. Bit of legislation. So we hope,
We've got Diego Martin on the line. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I'm from Diego Martin and I'm also a squatter. I would like to know where would be the nearest outlet that I could go to get one of the forms, and what would I need to require to fill out the form also, like what other documents I would need as a squatter.
109 Henry Street, Port of Spain. It is, Park Street and Henry Street where all the banks are?
Yeah.
Right, so you're heading north there.
3 buildings on the left.
3 buildings on the left.
3 buildings
you
on
will
the
see
left.
a sign.
Yeah, it's a blue building.
Do you have water and electricity?
Electricity, not water.
Walk with your most recent TNTech bill.
Alright, no problem. And I would get a form there and they could also assist to help me.
They will sit down with you and help
yes.
you fill it out.
Alright, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you for your call. 6224141. We've got San Fernando on the line. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome.
I'm calling from San Fernando, and my question is: I am the joint owner. The other person is deceased, so it comes like I am the thing. I have done some renovations on the building, but I have not yet gotten like a plan. The plan for the house. How we deal with that?
Okay, well, like we would have said earlier, it does not matter that you do not have a plan for the house. If it is that you can draw it yourself and give us the dimensions, that would be wonderful. If not, we will certainly come and do our own drawings and come up with a value for your house.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, now if we're drawing just a layman's plan of your house, you have to give dimensions with it as well?
That would be good,
appreciated.
yes.
If not, though, I mean, at least you can express the accommodation.
The
so you
layout.
can, so you give us the layout so we'll know how many bedrooms, kitchen, living, that sort of thing.
Okay, because I was thinking about doing that, but now I think I'm changing my mind.
But we can come and do it for you.
The Valuation Division can in fact come and do
Yes.
that. All right, so we've got so many questions. We just have a few more minutes here to discuss this. If you want to give us a call at 6224141 extension 4, you can in fact give us a call. Now, I wanted to find out one thing. Basically, if you've got, let me see if I can find the question that I was actually going to ask you. The rental value for houses or in the same area. How are you going to work out rental value for? Is it going to be the same across the board?
No.
That's a common question that we get. Valuation Division conducts ongoing market analysis, but to take into account the differences in the heterogeneous property market that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, we have banded banded properties into categories based on their
Locality.
commodities,
Okay.
localities,
Classification, whether it's executive,
construction,
modern.
materials, all of that,
Yeah.
so that it will not be a blanket rate across the area. Because you may have a dilapidated house in St. Clair, and we'll have to take that into account.
Okay, great. Now, I just want to let everyone know that you can